Hi everyone, welcome to Simple Concepts. I'm your educator Niyati Paul. In this particular lecture series, we are covering the entire polity syllabus for the Civil Services examination, and this lecture will cover the last part of the question paper analysis for the polity series. So before we actually begin with our lecture, let me tell you all, if you want to get all the notes and PDF of the lectures that we are conducting over here, then you can join our Telegram group. The link of the group is in the description below. Also, if you are new to this platform, then do subscribe to our channel and press the notification bell. Having said that, let's start with our today's lecture. So in this particular lecture, we are covering the last part in which there are questions based on constitutional and non-constitutional bodies. Basically बस 6 सवाल पूछे गए थे अभी तक, and जो level थी वो either easy थी या फिर moderate difficulty level थी. And the type of questions were basic and fundamental questions which were asked. So here comes the first question. Consider the following statements. The Election Commission of India is a 5-member body. Union Ministry of Home Affairs decides the election schedule for the conduct of both general elections and by-elections. Election Commission resolves the disputes relating to splits merger of recognized political parties. Which of the following statements of the above are true? 1 and 2 only, 2 only, 2 and 3 only, and 3 only. So before we understand with this concept, let me tell you all, मैं आपको यहाँ पे जवाब नहीं दे रही हूँ पूरे सवाल के, बस हम ये लर्न कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि जिस प्रकार से सवाल आ रहे हैं हमें स्टडी किस हिसाब से करनी चाहिए और कौन कौन से इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट्स पे हमें फोकस करना चाहिए. सो आपको ये इसका जवाब मुझे कमेंट्स में देना होगा, एंड फॉर दैट टू हेल्प यू विद दैट लेट मी हेल्प यू ऑल विद अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कंसेप्ट्स ऑफ splits and mergers and anti-defection law. ये बहुत ही important concept है in order to answer the question. So basically, splits, mergers and alliances have frequently disrupted the compositions of political parties. ये हमें understand करना ज़रूरी है. This has led to the number of disputes over which section of divided party gets to keep the party symbol and how to classify the resulting parties in terms of national and state parties. The Election Commission has to resolve these disputes, although its decisions can be challenged in the court. तो ये पार्ट आपको अंडरस्टैंड करना जरूरी है, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट आप इस सवाल का जवाब जो है मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में नोट डाउन करेंगे. ओके. नाउ एक और कंसेप्ट आपके लिए अंडरस्टैंड करना यहाँ पे जरूरी है, एंड दैट इज डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन अंडर एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू 10th शेड्यूल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, अ मेंबर कैन बी डिस्क्वालिफाइड इन 2 सर्कमस्टांसेस. बस 2 सर्कमस्टांसेस होते हैं जिसको यूज करके मेंबर को डिस्क्वालिफाई करा जा सकता है. फर्स्ट इज दैट इफ ही और शी वॉलंटरली गिव्स अप द मेंबरशिप ऑफ द पार्टी. Second, a member also incurs disqualification when he or she votes or abstains from voting contrary to the directive issues issued by the party. Now in 1994, Ravi Naik versus Union of India, ये गोवा का केस था. The Supreme Court said even in the absence of formal resignation from the membership, an interference can be drawn from the conduct of a member that he has voluntarily given up his membership of the political party to which belongs. मतलब कि यहाँ पे member का जैसा behavior है वो भी decide कर सकता है whether he actually wants to be in the party or not. Okay. Now the next concept is that expulsion under anti-defection law. So under anti-defection law, even an expelled legislator is required to follow the whip issued by the party whose ticket he has elected to the house and vote for his or her original party during the floor test. Now एक और केस यहाँ पे बना था इन जी विश्वनाथन वर्सेस ऑनरेबल स्पीकर. ये केस था तमिलनाडु स्टेट असेंबली का, wherein the Supreme Court ruled in 1996 an expelled member was bound by the party's whip even after expulsion, and failure to adhere it would result in his or her disqualification from the house. Okay, so ये केस हुआ था तमिलनाडु का. Also, there is this rule in paragraph 2 subclause 1 which reads that explanation clearly points out that elected member shall continue to belong his party by which he was set up as a candidate for the election of such a member. This is so withstanding that he has thrown out or expelled from the party. This was the rule made by Supreme Court. This was ruled out by Supreme Court. नाउ स्प्लिट एंड मर्जर अंडर एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ क्या है हम जानेंगे. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू 10th शेड्यूल, ये चीज 10th शेड्यूल में लिखी गई है. इट रिक्वायर्स एटलीस्ट 2/3 मेंबर्स ऑफ लेजिस्लेचर party to form new political group or merge with the another political party without getting disqualified under anti-defection law. Also हमें paragraph 3 है यहाँ पे of the 10th schedule which originally recognized a split if at least 1/3 member of the legislature party decided to form or join another political party. Also the provision which was done away with this 91st amendment जो कि बहुत ही important माना जाता है to the constitution in 2003. The amendment which came into force in January 2004 does not recognize split in the legislature party. ये decision हुआ था 2004 में. Now instead it recognized merger that requires at least 2/3 members of the legislature party to join another political formation to form a new one without inviting the wrath of anti-defection law. Now अब हम जानेंगे कॉम्पोजिशन क्या होता है. Now in Article 324 the Constitution has made the following provisions with regard to the composition election member. आपको ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है गाइस, आपको अंडरस्टैंड करना. फर्स्ट वन इज दैट द इलेक्शन कमीशन शैल कंसिस्ट ऑफ चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर एंड सच नंबर of the other election commissioners if any as the president may from time to fix. Okay. Now appointment of the chief election commissioner and the other election commissioners shall be made by the president. बस president ही कर सकते हैं. Again आपको important ये जानना जरूरी है, आर्टिकल 324 में ये सब रूल्ड आउट है. When any other election commissioner is so appointed, the chief election commissioner shall act as the chairman of the election commission. Also, the president may also appoint after consultation with the election commission of such regional commissioners as he may consider necessary to assist to election commissioner. Okay. Now, conditions of service and tenure of office of the election commissioner and the regional commissioners shall be determined by the president. Now again in October 1993 the president appointed more election commissioners. Since then till today the election commission has been functioning as a multi-member body consisting of 3 election commissioners. So अभी ये हुआ था 1993 में, तब से ये चला आ रहा है. Now the chief election commissioner and the 2 other election commissioners have equal powers and receive equal salary allowances and other perquisites which are similar to those of the judges of the Supreme Court. Now in any case of difference of opinion amongst the chief election commissioner and of the 2 election commissioners, the matter is decided by the commission by the majority. यूजुअली ऐसा नहीं होता, बट अगर होता है तो कमीशन बैठ जाता है एंड देन दे डिसाइड बाय द मेजॉरिटी. दे होल्ड ऑफिस फॉर टर्म ऑफ 6 years until they attain the age of 65 years and whichever is earlier. They can resign at any time or can also be removed by the expiry of that term. Now अभी आर्टिकल 324 में इंडिपेंडेंस के बारे में भी, मतलब इंडिपेंडेंसी ऑफ द एंटायर कमीशन भी लिखा गया है. द फर्स्ट पार्ट इज दैट, फर्स्ट पॉइंट, द चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर इज प्रोवाइडेड विद द सिक्योरिटी ऑफ टेन्योर. उनको सिक्योरिटी ऑफ टेन्योर होती है. ही कैन नॉट बी रिमूव्ड बाय हिज फ्रॉम हिज ऑफिस एक्सेप्ट इन सेम मैनर ऑन द सेम ग्राउंड्स एज द जज ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. मतलब जो ग्राउंड्स जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज के रिमूवल के लिए यूज किए जाते हैं वही यूज किए जाते हैं फॉर इलेक्शन कमिश्नर, उनको हटाने के लिए चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर. सो इन अदर वर्ड्स ही कैन बी रिमूव्ड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द रेजोल्यूशन पास टू दैट इफेक्ट ऑफ बाय द बोथ द हाउसेज ऑफ पार्लियामेंट विद स्पेशल मेजॉरिटी ईदर ऑन द ग्राउंड ऑफ प्रूव्ड मिसबिहेवियर और इनकैपेसिटी. Thus, he does not hold his office till the pleasure of the president though he is appointed by him. The second point ये है यहाँ पे, the service commission of the chief election commissioner cannot be varied to his disadvantage after his appointment. Any other election commissioner or regional commissioner cannot be removed from his office except on the recommendation of the chief election commissioner. Now, though the constitution has sought to different safeguards and to ensure the independence and impartiality of the election commissioner, some flaws are been there. मतलब थोड़े कुछ flaws भी हैं. बहुत ही ज़्यादा maintain किया गया था ताकि flaws ना रहे. फिर भी there are some of the other flaws which are there, and which are those? The constitution has not prescribed the qualification, that is legal, educational or administrative or judicial qualification mention नहीं किए गए हैं of the members of the election commission. Also, the constitution has not specified the term of the members of the election commission. Now, Constitution has also debarred the retiring election commissioners from any further appointments by the government. Now, in the details of these provisions, what are the functions? Let us look into the powers and functions. First power and function में point आता है to determine the territorial areas of the electoral constituencies throughout the country on the basis of delimitation of Commission Act of Parliament. Also to prepare and periodically revise electoral rolls and to register all eligible voters. Third one is that to notify the dates and schedules of the election and to scrutinize nomination papers. Fourth is that to grant recognition to political parties and to allot election symbol to them. जो भी होते हैं आपको पता होगा, मतलब एयरप्लेन होते हैं या फिर जो भी बाकी छोटे छोटे सिंबल्स होते हैं वो करना पार्ट होता है उनका, वो एक काम होता है. अब चलते हैं अगले पावर्स में से, मतलब पावर्स एंड फंक्शन कौन कौन से होते हैं. They also have to act as a court for settling disputes related to granting of recognition to political parties and allotment of election symbols to them. Then they have to appoint the officers for inquiring into disputes relating to electoral arrangements, to determine the code of conduct to be observed by the parties and the candidates at the time of elections. Also to prepare the a roster for publicity of the policies of the political parties on radio and TV in the times of elections. They also have to advise the president on matters relating to disqualification of the members of the parliament. They also have to advise the governor on matter relating to disqualification of the members of the state legislature, to cancel the polls in event of rigging, both booth capturing, violence and other irregularities, to request the president or governor for requirements of staff necessary for conducting the elections, to supervise machinery of elections, then to advise the president whether elections can be held in the state under president's rule or not, to register political parties for the purpose of elections, etc. etc. तो दैट्स ऑल फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन. आप अपना जवाब अगर आपको अंडरस्टैंड हुआ होगा कंसेप्ट तो आप कमेंट में मेंशन करिएगा इसका जवाब क्या होगा. नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन 2 है विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग बॉडीज डू नॉट फाइंड मेंशन इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. फर्स्ट वन इज नेशनल डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल. ये क्वेश्चन था बाय द वे 2013 से. फर्स्ट ऑप्शन इज नेशनल डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल, प्लानिंग कमीशन, जोनल काउंसिल्स. Which of the following is correct? 1 and 2 only, 2 only, 1 and 3 only and 1, 2 and 3. मुझे लगता है इसका जवाब बहुत ही इजीली आप मेंशन कर पाओगे कि कौन सी बॉडी हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मेंशन नहीं है, डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल, प्लानिंग कमीशन या फिर जोनल काउंसिल्स. सो हम इस क्वेश्चन को भी अंडरस्टैंड, इसका आंसर फाइंड आउट करने की कोशिश करेंगे, बट लेट्स फर्स्ट लुक इनटू क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 and 4 एज वेल. ओके, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विथ इट. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 है हु अमंग द फॉलोइंग कॉन्स्टिट्यूट द नेशनल डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल. फर्स्ट ऑप्शन इज, हमारे यहाँ पे 4 ऑप्शंस दिए गए हैं, इसके नीचे जो ऑप्शंस दिए हैं उसमें से आपको सिलेक्ट करना है. फर्स्ट वन इज द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, द चेयरमैन फाइनेंस कमीशन, मिनिस्टर्स ऑफ यूनियन कैबिनेट और द चीफ मिनिस्टर्स ऑफ द स्टेट. और आपको इसका जवाब कैसे फाइंड आउट करना है. 1, 2 and 3 only, 1, 3 and 4 only, 2 and 4 only, as in 2 and 4 only, and 1, 2, 3 and 4 only. Okay, so let's move on to question number 4. Consider the following statements. Attorney General of India can take part in proceedings of the Lok Sabha, be a member of committee of Lok Sabha, speak in the Lok Sabha and vote in the Lok Sabha. इसमें से आपको सही जवाब चुनना है 1 only, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 3 only. तो before we learn about answering all these questions, let's first into the concepts understanding को हम पहले फोकस करेंगे. तो जो एजी है यानी कि अटॉर्नी जनरल, तो उनके बारे में हम पहले जानने की कोशिश करेंगे. सो अटॉर्नी जनरल और एजी इज अपॉइंटेड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट एंड ही मस्ट बी द पर्सन हु इज क्वालिफाइड टू बी अपॉइंटेड एज द जज ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. उनका इतना क्वालिफिकेशन होना चाहिए कि वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज भी बन सकते हैं. इन अदर वर्ड्स ही मस्ट बी ए सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया. मतलब बाकी जो भी उनके सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजेस को जो कंडीशंस लागू होते हैं क्वालिफिकेशन के, वो सारे के सारे एजी को भी लागू होते हैं. यानी कि ही मस्ट बी सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया, ही मस्ट हैव बीन जज ऑफ सम हाई कोर्ट फॉर 5 years और एन एडवोकेट ऑफ सम हाई कोर्ट फॉर 10 years और एमिनेंट जूरिस्ट इन ओपिनियन ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट. The term of office of the AG is not fixed by the constitution. Further, the constitution does not contain the procedure and grounds for his removal. He holds the office during the pleasure of the president. This means that he may be removed by the president at any time. He may also quit his office by submitting his resignation to the president. Conventionally, he resigns when the government council of ministers resigns or is replaced as he appointed on its advice. The remuneration of the AG is not fixed by the constitution. मतलब उनका जो पेमेंट स्केल है उनकी नहीं फिक्स होता. He receives such remuneration as the president may determine. Now let's look into duties and functions of an AG. So as a chief law officer of the government of India, the duties of AG include the following: to give advice to government of India upon such legal matters which are referred to him by the president, to perform such other duties of legal character that are assigned to him by the president, to discharge the functions conferred by him by the constitution or any other law. Now the president has assigned the following duties to the AG. कौन कौन से हैं देखते हैं. First one is to appear on behalf of the government of India in all the cases in the Supreme Court which the government of India is concerned, to represent the governor of India in any reference made by the president to the Supreme Court under Article 143 of the Constitution. ये बहुत ही important point है. Third one is to appear when required by the government of India in any high court in case in which the government of India is concerned. Now there are some, इनके साथ ही मतलब जो कि duties और powers है उनके साथ भी there are some rights and limitations which are there to the Attorney General of India. So in the performance of his official duties, the Attorney General has the right of audience in all the courts in the territory of India. Also he has right to speak and to take part in the proceedings of both the houses of parliament. आपको यहाँ पे point मैं फिर से mention करती हूँ. He has right to speak and to take part in all the proceedings of both the houses of the parliament or their joint sitting in any committee of the parliament of which he may be named a member, but without a right of vote. Without उनको right of vote नहीं होता. He can participate in all the proceedings. Okay. He enjoys all the privileges and immunities that are available to the members of the parliament. उनको सारे के सारे privileges मिलते हैं. Privileges का मतलब क्या होता है, मैं आपको एक यहाँ पे privilege mention कर देती हूँ. वो ये है कि आप हाउस में रह के मतलब आप लोकसभा राज्यसभा में रह के आप किसी भी मेंबर के अगेंस्ट अगर आप कुछ भी बोल देते हो तो वो मेंबर जिसके अगेंस्ट आपने बोला है वो आपको डिफेमेशन के केस आप पे नहीं डाल सकता. This is one of the privileges and immunities which are given to the members of parliament. तो same privileges and मतलब immunity जो होती है वो अटॉर्नी जनरल को भी मिलती है. Now following limitations are placed on the attorney general in order to avoid any complication and conflict of the duty. He should not defend the accused person in criminal prosecutions without the permission of the government of India. उनको जो काम कहा गया है he is required to do that only and exclusively only that. He should not accept the appointment as director in any company or corporation without the permission of government of India. However, the Attorney General is not a full-time counsel to the government. He does not fall in the category of government servants. Further, he is not debarred from the private legal practice. वो अपनी खुद की private legal practice भी कर सकते हैं. आपको एडवोकेट जनरल ऑफ स्टेट के बारे में भी एम लक्ष्मीकांत में बहुत ही अच्छे तरह से आपको एक्सप्लेन किया गया है, वेर इन दे हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड अबाउट आर्टिकल 165 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का, विच हैज बीन प्रोवाइडेड फॉर द इन विच इट हैज बीन प्रोवाइडेड फॉर द ऑफिस ऑफ एडवोकेट जनरल फॉर द स्टेट्स. He is the highest law officer in the state, thus he corresponds to the Attorney General of India. अब देखते हैं अपॉइंटमेंट एंड टर्म का क्या होता है, क्या हाल है उनके. सो एडवोकेट जनरल इज बेसिकली अपॉइंटेड बाय द गवर्नर एंड ही शुड बी अ पर्सन हु क्वालिफाइड एज द जज ऑफ द हाई कोर्ट. वहां पे जज ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट था, यहाँ जज ऑफ द हाई कोर्ट है. इन अदर वर्ड्स ही मस्ट बी अ सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया एंड मस्ट हैव बीन हेल्ड जुडिशियल ऑफिस फॉर एटलीस्ट 10 years और हैव बीन एडवोकेट ऑफ हाई कोर्ट फॉर एटलीस्ट 10 years. The term of office of Advocate General is not fixed by the Constitution. Further, the Constitution does not contain the procedure and grounds for his removal. He holds the office during the pleasure of the governor. ठीक है. Now, remuneration of Advocate General is not fixed by the Constitution. He receives such remuneration as the governor may determine. Okay. अभी चलते हैं हमारे क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 पे. कौन सा क्वेश्चन है हमारे लिए? So in India, other than ensuring the public funds are used efficiently and for the intended purpose, what is the importance of Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General, that is CAG. ना यहाँ पे ऑप्शंस दिए हैं. CAG exercises enquire control on behalf of the Parliament when the President of India declares national emergency or financial emergency. CAG reports on the execution of projects of programs by the ministers are discussed by the Public Accounts Committee. Third option है, information from CAG reports can be used by investigating agencies to press charges against those who have violated the law while managing public finances. Fourth है, while dealing with the audit and accounting of the government companies, CAG has certain judicial powers for prosecution those who violate the law. Which of the following statements is correct? यहाँ पे options है 1, 3 and 4 only, 2 only, 2 and 3 only, and 1, 2 and 3 only. तो जानते हैं अभी इसका कंसेप्ट क्या होगा हमारे लिए. तो बेसिकली जो CAG है, ही इज द हेड ऑफ द इंडियन ऑडिट एंड अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट. ही इज अपॉइंटेड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया बाय अ वारंट अंडर हिज हैंड एंड सील. ही होल्ड्स द ऑफिस फॉर द पीरियड ऑफ 6 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. He can resign any time from his office by addressing the resignation letter to the president. He can also be removed by the president on same grounds as in the manner of judge of the Supreme Court. यानी कि prove to be inefficient या फिर कोई वो corruption charges उन पे अगर prove हो जाते हैं वगैरह वगैरह. Now speaking about independence of the office, he is provided with security of tenure. He can be removed by the president only in accordance with the procedure mentioned in the constitution. Thus, he does not hold his office till the pleasure of the president, though he is appointed by him only. He is not eligible for further office. His salary and other service conditions are determined by the parliament and only strictly by the parliament. Now, to add more to this, the administrative expenses of the office of CAG including all salaries, allowances and pension of persons serving in that office are charged upon consolidated fund of India. Thus, they are not subject to the vote of parliament. Now, अभी यहाँ पे 6th schedule में कुछ district and regional funds के बारे में भी mention किया गया था, that there shall be constituted for each autonomous district or district fund, and for each autonomous region, regional fund to which shall be credited all money received respectively by the district council to that district and regional council of the region of the course. Now ये कुछ थोड़े बहुत points mention किए गए थे about the CAG, तो वो उनके help से आप इस सवाल का जवाब ढूंढने की आप कोशिश करिए and write down your answers in the comment section below. चलते हैं next question पे. So here comes the question number 6. With reference to the Finance Commission of India, which of the following statement is correct? First one, it encourages the inflow of foreign capital for infrastructure development. It facilitates the proper distribution of finances among the public sector undertaking. It ensures transparency in the financial administration. None of the statement A, B, C given above is correct in this context. ये आपको इस सवाल का जवाब आपको ढूंढने के लिए मैं आपको पॉइंट्स बताऊंगी. About Article 280 के बारे में, wherein there has been a mention of Finance Commission, wherein it has been written that it is constituted by the President of India in every 5th year, and Finance Commission consists of the chairman and 4 of the other members, and they are appointed by the President to hold the office for such period as specified by the President. यहाँ पे अगर qualification की अगर हम बात करें, then the Constitution authorizes the Parliament to determine the qualification of members of the Commission, and in the manner which they should and also the manner in which they should be selected. Okay, now यहाँ पे कुछ points mention किए गए हैं. For example, they should be a judge of the High Court or one qualified to be appointed as one. Also, they should have knowledge of finance and accounts of the government. They should be the experience of financial matters in the administration. Person who has special knowledge of economics, ये भी एक qualification, एक प्रकार का qualification यहाँ पे जरूरी है. Okay, now speaking about his functions, the finance मतलब finance commission के functions के बारे में अगर आप जानेंगे तो the distribution of net proceeds of taxes to be shared between the center and the state, and is allocation by the states of the respective shares of such proceeds. Also, the principles that should be govern the grants in aid to states by the center, that is out of the consolidated fund of India. The measures needed to be taken for consolidated fund of India to the state to supplement to the resource of the panchayats and municipalities in the state on the basis of recommendation by the state finance commissions. Also उनका advisory role ये होता है, it must be clarified here that the recommendations made by the finance commissions are only by the advisory nature and hence they are not binding on the government. It is up to the union government to implement such recommendations or not. वो fully government पे depend करता है whether they will follow these decisions or not. Okay. So with that I hope आपको ये concept भी समझ आया होगा and question number 6 का जवाब मैं आपसे expect करूंगी, आप comment sections में लिखेंगे. So that's all for this class guys. Thank you so much. See you all in the next class. हम अगली क्लास में हम NCERT से शुरू करने वाले हैं, तो stay tuned for the entire, आपको एक क्रैश कोर्स जैसा आपको मिलेगा, तो stay tuned for on our channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye.